Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and today we are in Hollywood, Florida at the Hard Rock Casino, and we're at the Pipes Conference for the Deal Flow guys and having a whole lot of fun. And I got a fellow podcaster here with me today, Josh. Josh, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. So this is pretty exciting. We are surrounded by investors, and with these headsets on, man, I feel like we're sitting in front of a football stadium, play-by-play on deals. It's pretty exciting being in this, and you're the one of the most experienced podcasters, from my understanding, with over 6,000 interviews under the belt. That's pretty good, Adam.
Man. We're having all kinds of fun, and tell me, what brings you out here today?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the podcasting, what I've learned, we run this show called The Deal Scout. So my job as the Deal Scout is to go look for deals, right? On my other hats that I wear is I work with an investment bank, a family office. I own a real estate company, and having those vehicles to structure deals and to do deals, what I've learned is podcasting is such a great way to put people face to face, build relationships, build content, and then share it with the community. So as you're doing deals and meeting people, you're sharing that with the community, and it tends to attract people who also want to share and learn. And this is a very collaborative environment. And I never thought it would be like this, but we do media to do these kind of events and put deals together, man. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. So I'm always trying to, and I'm biased here because I always want people to be on the other side of the mic. Obviously, I like interviewing people, but what's more fun for me is when people start their own shows. So having been, and you don't know this, but my background's actually in finance. So I was in that business for almost 14 years, and now I've been in media now full time going on 9 years.
Wow.
But this all started just as a little hobby on the side and other things like that. It was not supposed to be what it is today, and I'm very grateful to the audience and the long-term followers that have made all this possible. But my question to you is, now that you're on the other side of the mic and you're doing the show yourself, like, what's your favorite part about being a podcaster?
Man, that's a great question. I'll tell you, I haven't done as many as you. I've done about 2,000, and
That's huge, man. Congrats. What are you talking about? That's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. We built 20 shows, wound up selling one. We have a few shows in the top 5% global popular. And I'll tell you, it is so much easier to interview someone. Being on the other side gives me a little bit of fear, a little bit of anxiety, because I lose control. So that feeling again, to be excited and to be interviewed, I really enjoy that. I love hearing people's stories. I love hearing how people have overcome adversity. I love hearing what makes people tick and what excites people. So I think the most exciting thing about podcasting in general is the human connection, one-on-one with another person, and you get to spend time with people. And I guess maybe one of my love languages is quality time with people. So it really fills me up. And then on the business side, we make money doing it. So that's helpful too. What about you? Why did you start it? What's the most exciting thing about you?
Oh man, well it's doing what we're doing right now. It's doing what we're doing right now. So I get to travel, I get to meet new people, I get to put their stories out there. That's the fun, that's the joy of it all, really, is that a lot of these stories won't get told, and that's why I tell other people, I'm like, hey, you got a show? Go to an event. Like normally I'm so impressed with you, Josh, because I'm normally the only podcaster at any of these events ever. Like I'll do 100 events next year, and I'll probably be one unless you come to one, which I hope you do. Like then I'll be by myself doing these interviews, which is okay. But to me, I think what's evolved in media is that now other people can participate. You don't have to be a full-time host. You don't have to have that be your dream or what you do. You mentioned you have, or as all you do, I should say. Like you mentioned that you have other pursuits, other things too. But it doesn't mean that podcasting can't be significant and be a good revenue source for you.
For sure.
So for others that are watching this, I'm like, get involved, get in the game, like get a show going, right?
Yeah. And it's not as hard. Like, how long have you been doing this?
Going on 9 years, so a little longer than it's easier now than it used to be. To do this exact setup we're doing right now, it took 3 people, even 5 years ago. Now I can go by myself if I want to.
Yeah. And you got a mobile kit. Everything sounds good, looks good. Back in the day, man, it was so complex. You were doing interviews over Skype with some type of third-party reporter. You had these huge, bulky cameras. I remember walking down Miami with a huge briefcase, and I was doing an interview. I looked like a crazy man. I'm sweating. I'm in a suit. But now it's so much easier. Everything fits in a backpack. and the technology and the software out there makes it so much easier for people to get involved in sharing content. Yeah. So
what kind of guests are you looking for your shows? Like, what kind of people do you bring on? Like, give my audience, because I want all my audience to definitely go check out your show. Like, what kind of content do you create?
Man, that's a great question. So we run a show called The Deal Scout, and if people are interested in maybe seeing like how it interacts business-wise, they can find me on LinkedIn, Joshua Bruce Wilson, and you can find me or The Deal Scout. And the kind of people that we want to connect with, I've had shows that we were trying to go after big name people and movie stars, and I've interviewed a lot of people. But what I find interesting is the people who are in the trenches every day, the lawyers, the accountants, the investors, the companies that are looking for capital, and having conversations with them, the people that most media groups would overlook. I want to hear the common man's story, the common woman's story about like what they're doing. And I find that fascinating. Sometimes when I'm working with a guest and they're too professional, too polished, it doesn't feel authentic to me. I like the person who's a little bit nervous, like me, getting on camera. Like, it's exciting. So the kind of guests that I'm looking for are deal makers, primarily U.S. based. It just makes things a little bit easier with time zones and the kind of deals that we like to structure. But people who are in the game of investing in businesses, buying businesses, selling businesses, taking companies public, people who are the service providers supporting them. Because as those kind of deals that I do myself, I need to learn. I'm still a baby in the industry, so I want to learn, and I get to do that from my guests. So I'm asking tactical questions about how do you structure this deal? What does that look like? You've got a finance background. I grew up swinging hammers and digging ditches, so like I need to acquire this knowledge. And when I first got started, I couldn't afford to go pay an attorney to sit there and teach me how to do it.
Don't underestimate free consulting. I say that on my show all the time, and people think I'm joking. I'm like, I talk to some of the smartest people in the world, and I'm like, all right, I'll even say this on an episode. I'll say, this question is actually for me. Hopefully the audience gets something, but I actually just want some free consulting out of you. So that's why I'm asking this question. I will preface it and tell them.
They love it.
And they're like, for real? And I'm like, yeah, you'll see why. It's very specific.
And so when it comes to podcasting, you get asked questions too. Yeah. What is one of the best questions that you like to ask? Like, what is one of your go-to questions that you ask?
I'm going to ask you it right now. Actually, it was my last question for you, and it was the meanest question to ask any podcaster. But you got a lot of episodes, so it's like asking you between if you have kids in between your kids. Favorite episode?
Oh my gosh! So one of my favorite memories doing podcasting, I was interviewing maybe like 7 years ago or something, and I was interviewing a really big investor, and I'm trying to make a really good impression because I was trying to, I think I was building my software company, my tech company, and I was trying to build those relationships, with the investors, and maybe one day they would invest in you. So I was leveraging my podcast to do this, and I'm in the middle and I'm jamming. We're having the best interview ever, and I hear my daughter, "Dad, wipe my butt," and I'm like, because I was recording from the house, so I was like, hold on that thought. And then, so then we get back in and, record again. So this is my favorite memory because it like my after I do the deed, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on your podcast.
You can do it.
Too late, I guess. But afterwards, she comes in and we're doing the interview still, and she sits on my lap and the investor, she's like, "Oh, that's so sweet." And she starts talking to my daughter and they're having a conversation. So I could have just like walked away and they would have had a better interview than I did. That was my favorite memory because now I look at my daughter much years later who doesn't need all the support. I just like, man, that was such a golden moment. And I've seen like broadcasters where this happened and they were embarrassed about it or they try to hide it. I think because I embraced it, it was a good experience for them, my guests, my daughter, my family. And it was a beautiful moment. So that was my favorite podcasting moment ever, I think.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Well, Josh, I know you got a lot more interviews. I know you're doing interviews at the conference too, so I know you got a lot to do. But thank you for coming on the show. I want you to look into the camera, tell people one more time, how do they follow you? How do they listen to the shows? Give me all that.
Yeah, Adam, thanks for having me. Mission Matters, this is a great platform, so thank you for having me here. You can find us at thedealscout.com. If you're a deal maker looking to find deals, put together deals, or maybe talk about some deals on the show, thedealscout.com. We have a little form on top, and maybe get you on the show next. My name's Josh. You could always find me also on LinkedIn, Joshua Bruce Wilson. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic. And for everybody watching, just so you know, we'll put the links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Josh, appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Cheers.